Tune in to UFO Undercover, Wednesdays at 8 p.m. Eastern, with your host, Joe Montaldo, right here on the Paranormal Radio Network.
When they are consuming your minds and your thoughts and your dreams, from the angels to the demons and to the mysteries unseen, there is no need to worry. There is no need for dread. It's just time to discuss the thing at the foot of the bed.
Hey, good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Tuesday night edition of Into the Night with me, your host, Sean Kelly. How is everybody doing tonight? I'm doing great. It is, October 29th, and yes, I'll say it again like I did on Sunday. Happy Halloween to everybody. Whenever you go out, if your grandchildren or children have candy and they come back, you better inspect the candy just to be on the safe side. Hey, Heidi, much love to you too, sweetheart. Hey, Sebastian, Joe Fox, good to see you. You have to inspect that candy from your grandchildren or your children, honestly, and always remember to tell them that we get the Reese's Cups. Yes, they can have everything else, but we get the Reese's Cups. Okay. But yeah, want to thank UPRN Talk Radio 105.3 New Orleans, 107.7 Mississippi for allowing me to give you an hour of my time with you guys. And I also have a show that is Sunday night from 8:10 to 9:10 p.m. into the night. So I have two shows, 1 hour apiece. I have a fantastic show tonight. My friend Mark Eddy, who is special co-hosting with me tonight, told me about this wonderful lady. And I'm going to give you the short version of her, if I can get my phone working. I'm nervous because she's on my show. But her name is Barbara Delong. Barbara Delong. Okay, I got to slow down here. Barbara has been a seeker of mysteries of spirituality and a practitioner for over half a century. At least that's what she'll admit to. During that time, she has become an internationally known podcast host on her show, Nightlight Radio, an author, artist, lecturer, ordained minister, and documentarian. She painted the Cosmic Deck of Initiation, a hand-painted deck of Mandela Oracle cards to be used for private divination and spiritual growth, and wrote the handbook, How to Use the Cosmic Deck of Initiation. Her website, barbaradelong.com, is a teaching site combining personal information and a plethora of spiritual material intended to supply insight and light, laughter, and love for all those seeking their own personal pathway within the spiritual spheres. And without any further ado, I am Oh, Heidi already checked out your website. That's cool. I'm going to see what Heidi has to say about it. She said, Heidi also says, I'm looking forward to this conversation. I am too. Oh my God, I've just been so happy go lucky. Almost did the Irish jig, but my 62-year-old body just ain't taking it today. Maybe if the weather changes, it will be better. But without further ado, I'm going to bring in Mark. Hey, Mark, how are you? Thank you for coming in and
Wow,
helping out
thank you.
tonight. You
Oh,
know, I
well,
truly appreciate it. And I know that you work with Barbara a lot, so I figured why not
yep,
bring you along too?
yeah. Uh, she uh, she doesn't need me to speak for her, but she does a really excellent job. But yeah, I really appreciate the invite to uh, you know, show the kind of partnership
Yes,
we
absolutely.
have, and
I
the
believe in that.
kind of shows we bring to the listeners.
Awesome. Heidi says that I've seen her cards before and she loves them. Good girl. Heidi. And Heidi says, "Hi, Mark. How are you?"
Alrighty,
And
doing
without
fine.
further ado, the lady of the hour, Miss Barbara Delong. Hey, welcome. Welcome, Barbara.
Thank you so much for the invite. It's always nice to be the one getting interviewed as opposed to the one doing the interview because I'm already prepped. I know all about me, so
Right.
I don't have to struggle with it.
So tell us a little bit about yourself, please.
Wow, let me see. Well, I started out like everybody else did. I went to school and graduated, and um, while I was there, I saw a UFO. It landed on my campus, and that changed my life forever. But got married, had a child, got divorced, and I've had I taught special ed for 25 years, and had a car accident, and was able to go into this field full time at a very very young age, which
Hmm.
was quite spectacular. People kept saying you need to do this full time, and I kept saying, you have any idea what I make as a teacher and the perks I have? I said, not until I retire. When I retire,
Right.
I will, and if there's anybody out there, I'll talk to them. Well, I had the car accident and got retired in my 40s, and
Wow.
I
Okay.
have been doing this work for the last, I've been actively doing it for the last 40 or so years, but certainly have been involved in it for over 50. And
Hmm.
it's been probably one of the most exciting times of my life. Magic happens. And when you're doing what you love, you're not really working. So
Right.
it's a very it's amazing to have the time to be able to go in the different directions as they call me, and I've been called in weird places, so it's really kind of fun. And I have,
That's awesome.
I
Awesome.
there have been a couple of marriages and a couple of divorces, and one of my husbands passed away. I didn't have a chance to divorce him, so um
Wow.
and that was Patrick Hook, who did the Bible UFO connection, and really, I met Patrick on one of my shows. I was interviewing an author who had written a book on authenticated UFO sightings, and I happened to be at one of them. And so I had a lovely time talking to him because I was no longer crazy, because it really happened. And Patrick, for some reason, was in the chat room, and he started IMing me saying I'm an expert in the field. And I thought, right. And because chat rooms, while they're lovely, they can lead you in many different areas and directions. But when the author had to leave, I pulled Patrick onto the show, and we spoke quite a bit. And afterwards, he sent me an email and said, I'd really like to talk to you some more. And so that began. That was in, I think, November, and by the following July, he had packed up everything he owned. He was in San Francisco. He had packed up everything he owned and his three cats. And our very first date was driving across country for 6 days with his three cats and everything he owned.
Wow. Wow.
That
Heidi says. Heidi says hello, Barbara. And she also says much love from Boulder.
Oh,
And hey, Squatchman, good to see you, buddy. Thank you for popping in tonight, man. It's always good to see you, Squatchman. I got the best people that come in and listen to my show like religiously, and I call them my angels, Barbara, because
oh, chat rooms can be wonderful.
oh my God, yes, I have the best. So, Mark, do you have anything to ask Barbara? Um, that can, that you she knows about you already, so you work with her. So, what would you like to ask her?
Uh, okay, well, since we're on UPRN, might as well give the audience what they are, why they're usually here for the UFO stories. And you have a terrific book. It's kind of like my Van of White presentation. But
The name
okay,
of the
so
book.
yeah,
What's the name of
yeah,
the book?
before Roswell, the secret history of UFOs. Okay, so how about get a little background on you and Ken Godsword, co-authoring this
Ken,
really interesting book.
Ken Godsword was a guest on Mark's show because Mark does a show on Nightlight Radio as well. And he had Ken on, and we got to talking one evening after the show. And um, shortly thereafter, I got a call from him, and he said, I'm writing a book on UFOs, and I noticed you have a lot of it on your website. Would you be okay if I use some of it? And I said, oh, absolutely, go for it. When Patrick passed away, he had a website called Bible UFO Connection, and it had a tremendous amount of material on it. He had written many books, and all of the material was on his website. And when he passed away, I had to take the website down, but I made sure that whatever was on his website was either in his books or I put it onto my website. And two of the areas that were not in any of the books was his material on giants and his material on UFOs. So his material on UFOs is on my website. And I've added to it over the years. And so, I said, sure, go ahead. And he called me back a week later, said, would you like to co-author the book with me? And I thought, this will be easy. It's all written already. So I said, sure, I'd love to. That would be lots of fun. And so basically we focused on UFO sightings before Roswell, because after Roswell, then aliens became monsters and things to fear and stuff like that. And prior to that, um, they hadn't been. They were common, and everybody knew about them. And so the book is really a series of newspaper articles and things that have been written about UFOs, authenticating them. And the material goes from Roswell back to 270,000 years ago.
That long ago? What long? Wow. Wow.
They're in rock carvings in France, all over the place. So there is tremendous amount of material there to kind of just say, hey, look, they've been here all along. I personally believe, though I can't have no authentication for it, that they were probably here before we were. So
Okay.
actually, we're probably the aliens to the planet. But it was a very exciting thing, and was I right? Was that 270,000 BC or 2000?
Yeah.
Okay. So it's nothing like fact checking me right in my face, Mark.
Yeah, Mark, what the hell, dude?
You were right. So there's nothing.
She's your boss, man. Come on.
Don't forget who signs your paycheck, kid. Every now and then I double his salary. He's not getting rich on it. So he had taken the incidences and divided them into different categories, and we each wrote a little bit about each category. And I wrote he wrote the summation and I wrote the conclusion, or it was the other way around. But at the end of the book, we each had our say, and and he published it, and I was kind of like, oh my goodness, this was easy, and I didn't think anything of it, but and I've done a lot of radio shows on it, and it's a wonderful little book. I've read it a number of times, and I'm always surprised. There's always something new. For instance, this is my favorite. Do you happen to know who the first person was to shoot down a UFO?
No, not at all.
It was the Red Baron from Germany. Yes, the
Oh,
one that Snoopy signed.
really?
Yes, he was the he's the first one to be credited with shooting down the first UFO.
Oh my God, that's crazy. I have a question before I get to that question. Kason, good to see you, buddy. Stony, welcome. That's my girlfriend from New Zealand, man. That's my dear. We're like so brother and sister. And what demon? Joe would like to know. Joe Fox has amazing stuff. Okay, I have two questions for you, hon. What,
Okay.
just from Joe, what demonized them? He wonders.
The government, because the government didn't want us to know about them. They have been friendly for over 270,000 years. They're not attacking. They're kind of like Bigfoot. Bigfoot throws stones and sticks. Why people want to kill one just to prove they exist is beyond me. But they're interdimensional, so they're probably never going to get one. But it was the government, because they didn't want us to understand about them. They didn't want us to be. They wanted us to be afraid of them, so that we would not pay attention to the sightings, and that we would be fearful of them.
That's crazy. I was going to ask about, like, the same question, but you said you don't want to talk politics, so that's government. But I guess
Oh,
we're okay talking UFOs and
yes,
government, right?
we can do that.
Okay, good. Kaysen says Sumerian kings list goes back 12,000 years back. Might
Yep.
they be ETs?
Yeah. Well, actually, the 270,000 years are. Mark, is that's Sumerian King's list, isn't it?
It's covers the lifespan. Sumerian king list starts here with god kings reigning in the sky.
So that it goes back.
You can read along with
Right
there at the bottom of the page.
Sumerian. Wow. The Sumerian King's list goes back that far. So they've been around, and we've noticed them, and in some cases interacted with them. It's nothing to be scary of. I mean, I know that Twilight Zone had a really good episode about them wanting to serve humanity by eating us, but aside from that, I don't think they're anything to be feared, and I don't think there are as many UFOs out there that are. I don't believe any of them are extraterrestrial. I believe that every now and then we see drones. So it's the whole UFO stuff is being made a big deal of. It's not a big deal.
Joe has another question for you. Besides the government, which makes fantastic sense, could the Greys have possibly demonized themselves?
The Greys, I don't think have any real agendas. Greys, I think, are more. If Greys exist, and I'm not sure they do, I do believe that they've been talked about so much that people, with their own fear, can holographically project something that isn't really there, and I think that's what's happening with a lot of this stuff.
Could it be Project Bluebeam on that?
It could be. I mean, the government, to be honest, has done everything it can to make us afraid of everything that is not within their domain and their control. So better to make us fearful of something. I don't. I the Greys are almost like pets and puppies, to tell you the truth. If
So,
indeed they exist, and I'm really I'm really kind of waffling on this, because it seems to me that people who see Greys have heard about them, therefore they may be fearful of them, therefore they may, with their own power, be projecting them because they're afraid of them.
Michelle, hi, good to see you, Michelle. It's okay to be late. Sebastian says, I agree with Barbara, spot on. Um, Speaking of that, the Anunnaki, could they be, and I've been wondering this for a long time, since I actually started radio 5 years ago, and they kind of confused me, but do you think the Anunnaki were aliens that came down and talked to the Sumerian kings on stuff, what was going to happen?
Boy, you're tripping into a book I'm writing.
That's
I
basically last night's show.
some of it, sure. I really believe that that the Anunnaki, the Nephilim, all of that um, are projections that our consciousnesses have created. I do believe that there may have been at some point in time, pre-Diluvian, possibly other cultures that were here, and but the whole agenda of the Bible talks about many gods, and the God that the Christians and Jews and whatever worship easily could be gods that weren't of a godly nature, that they were a race that was probably smarter than ours, and therefore we worshiped them. We made them gods, that they weren't gods.
Okay.
And if you talk about, the Bible and angels being thrown out of heaven and stuff like that, look at it more of it as a corporate type of thing. There's a hierarchy here going on, and we called them angels only because we didn't have another word for them. And I do believe that a lot of what the Bible is representing is creating a dogma that traps us consciously in a perspective that is not healthy for us, because we are capable of reaching to the source of all creation. That is not a god, a person. It's an energy that created us, so that the whole fabric of God creating us from dust and stuff like that, we may have evolved from it, but I don't believe we were created from it. And I personally believe that in many ways we're all living in the twilight zone, because we're caught in a hierarchy of consciousness that is trapping us from being evolved into a higher spiritual level.
Mm-hmm. So, they say when you die, your shell, which is your body, but your spirit, your energy moves on. Do you think that is the energy that was created? What you just said, what
From the
the enemy?
source.
Yes.
I believe that every one of us has a seed of the source within us. I believe that in order for those seeds who are in the ether, in an etheric form, in order for them to evolve, they have to experience a physical reality, because in spirit, in the ether, there is no physical anything. Love, and that's basically it. So when two people create an embryo, a spirit will enter into that embryo, and at that moment in time, that embryo is given life, the heart starts beating, and the spirit takes residence within. In other words, we are all an avatar for a spirit who is traveling through time,
Oh,
and
wow.
that spirit brings with it memories of the whole, you know, the whole agenda from the beginning of time, and when we die, it takes the experiences from this lifetime, and when it leaves the body stops functioning, and the spirit goes back into the ether to assimilate and decide where next and how next it's going to move through its journey. I believe, I personally believe that our spirits are not meant to return to the source, but rather to move forward. And at some point in time, maybe millions, maybe billions of years in the future, I don't know. Um, but at some point in time, that spirit will break through into an emptiness that enables it to create its own universe and become a source of creation for that.
That's very interesting. I don't know. I'm getting warm fuzzies all over me for saying that, for you explaining that. Never, since I've been doing radio, have I ever heard such a beautiful explanation of that. Um, that just made my evening. Thank you, Barb.
Oh, well, I'll leave now then.
Oh no, you're not leaving. No, hell no. Stony says, I'm not fearful of them, and they have had them in hurt my life, all my life. And she also says, it's an adventure of all possibilities. Kaysen thinks that I think we are both source and seed. That's interesting. That's
You
very,
know,
very possible.
when you think of the masters of wisdom that have been on the planet, and certainly, you know, Buddha and all those guys, um, their consciousness had expanded. They had moved beyond, truly beyond the physical, into a more spiritual um, realm within their consciousness. And the one thing, you know, people say, well, what about Jesus? Well, Jesus had that consciousness as well. They call it Christ consciousness, for heaven's sakes. Um, but but did he die? He did die on the cross. But in my perception, and this is just me, so just, you know, I'm not preaching to a, I'm not preaching to anybody here, but I believe that he, in dying, he didn't die for our sins, but his message, he gave us a message in which we can utilize those tools to find our own salvation. He, you know, he didn't sacrifice himself for us. He was killed, but the message that he left, his word, his message, were precious. And if we take the message in and we guide our lives by that message, thereby we will find a salvation of sorts within our spirit.
Hmm. I hope that helped you out there, brother. River Rose says, good evening, Sean, Barbara, and Mark, and everyone. I'm glad you could pop on, buddy. Joe Fox says, I agree with Barb. Pre-Deluvine. I'm going to bring it up so you can read it, Barb. My Pittsburgh.
Diluvian.
Yeah, what? I'm from Pittsburgh, so we don't talk right.
Pre-diluvian, yes,
Okay.
before the
Um,
flood, before the flood.
oh, thank you. Okay, Mark, do you want to, your turn to ask something, then we're going to go to a 70-second break.
Okay. One of the interesting things I like about your book is you go into a lot of detail about the Aurora 1897.
Yes, that crash.
Yeah,
Oh,
and you provide
yeah.
a map of where
Oh, Ken provided that.
and and in our area, uh, we do have um, you know corresponding a corresponding um, 1897 airship sighting in Lindora, which is why the Boardroom conference is held there, and Dan puts on that.
The one in Aurora is wonderful. It crashed, and what was it, 18 something?
1897.
Okay, it crashed and it burned, and there was at least one body, and the townspeople took the body. It was almost looked like a child, but it was a small man, and they buried it. They had a funeral for it. And the interview we got was from a woman who had been present at the funeral. She wasn't allowed to go to the crash site, but she did go to the funeral. And many years later, the government wanted to exhume the body, and they wouldn't tell the government where the body was buried, because they figured, they wanted him to rest in peace, and so he did.
All right, everybody, listen, we're coming up on our 70-second break. So if you have to go grab a cigarette, go to the bathroom, do something, what you got, get something to drink. We'll see you back in 70 seconds. Hey, welcome back, everybody, to the second half of my show, Into the Night with me, Sean Kelly. I want to thank UPRN Talk Radio, 105.3 New Orleans, 107.7 Mississippi, for giving me this hour to spend with you. Couple things. Sebastian says, really good show tonight. Joe Fox says, great show tonight. But my guest is Barbara Delong, and she is a internationally known radio host with Nightlight Radio and all kinds of other good things. Sorry if you missed the first half. I'm just excited. I don't know if I'm coming or going right now that she's on the show. And I really mean that. I truly mean that. And Mark Eddy, he's a special co-host, and he works with Barbara.
She's my boss.
She's the boss. She gives him pay raises every 2 weeks. But
well, it took me a number of years to actually talk Mark into coming onto the show. I had met him, and I thought, wow, what a cool source, and what a nice person. But he was working with someone else, and that partnership ended. And I thought, oh, I'm going to get Mark on the show. And before I had a chance, he started working with somebody else, and So I thought, well, I missed that chance, and continued to be his friend because he was a friend,
Right.
and I think he left that job too. Was it twice I missed you, or three times?
Yeah, just twice.
And well, then the second time I finally got him, and I said, look, stop looking around. I'll give you your own show on Nightlight, and I will shamelessly take advantage of all the people but I'll give you your own show. And so he's had his own show on Nightlight for the last 7 years, and I must admit he's had some very unique guests.
Awesome. Yes. And I wouldn't doubt it. Hey, Michael Anthony, good to see you, sir. Um, but usually we close up around 9 o'clock p.m. But I wanted to get to your book that you have written, Whispers of Spiritual Wisdom. Do you
Yes.
mind giving a little background on that?
Oh, I'd be happy to. Um, Whispers. When Patrick and I got married, he saw a lot of the poetry that I had written, and he said, "Oh, we have to publish this." And he was also a publisher, and I said, "Don't be ridiculous. That's silly. Nobody's gonna, buy a book of poetry." And he insisted, and I said, "Well, listen, let me write a blurb. A lot of little blurbs that can go opposite the poem. Won't necessarily have to be, have something to do with the poem, but give it some meat so they can, actually get something out of it." And so he published it, and I was surprised that this is many years later. It's still selling, and it has spiritual vignettes. I once called it a good bathroom book because there's no beginning and there's no end. You can open it anywhere and get something out of it. And Mark, if you would read for me the poem on the back of the book. Isn't there a poem there? Through canyons of crystal flow rivers of dreams. Or maybe it's the very
I just
first
saw
poem.
I think that's in the back.
I don't normally talk about this book, so.
I appreciate you talking about it.
Oh, Canyons of Crystal.
Yeah.
Okay. Through canyons of crystal flow rivers of dreams on currents of time to dimensions unseen. Unfold your wings of wishes. Let the winds of destiny guide you. Open your heart and welcome the visions carried within. For magic there awaits you. Harvest through time. 'Tis yours alone to awaken. You need only conjecture the rhyme.
Oh,
That,
that was beautiful. That was sweet. I like that. I did like that.
that's my favorite.
Yes, I can see that. I don't know, boy. I'm being honest with you, but I got like warm fuzzies all over with you being on the show today. That's the truth. And I am Irish, and I have a lot of Blarney, but this Blarney's being honest with you
Well,
know.
well, let me shamelessly plug my next show this Thursday.
Sure, please, please.
You mentioned that I did the Cosmic Deck of Initiation and that they're hand painted mandalas. This is what I never get this. This is what the cards look like, and
Ready.
on Thursday, come on, Barbara. On Thursday, I'm doing a reading show where people can call in and get a free reading.
Oh, wow.
And we're going to be doing that every other week for a while,
Okay.
just because it's fun, and it's a lot of it's they're spiritual readings. They're not so much of when am I going to meet the love of my life and how am I going to get a new job. It's more of these are energies you can use to make magic happen within your life, and it works with the chakra system. It works with spiritual laws and astrological signs and cosmic wisdom. So there's a lot of really cool stuff. It's not your normal psychic fair type reading. It's a spiritual reading, and um, they're really a lot of fun to do, and I learn a lot from them.
You're can if somebody can't get you on the website to go to your show, can they go to your Facebook page, Barbara Delong?
There's probably going to be a well, if they go to my my website, the link is right there. It's a Blog Talk Radio show. I will be publicizing it, so it should be on my fan page for sure. And
Okay.
and the link will take you right to the show. And it's a 2-hour show, and we do readings and as many as I can in that 2-hour time frame. And every other week, we're going to be doing a reading show just because the times are so crazy. Having some place where you can just listen to spiritual stuff is a nice break.
Yes, it is. Absolutely, especially in today's world.
Yeah.
Agatha, how are you? Good to see you, hon. She says, can you do a reading right now to see the difference? And I'm sorry, Agatha, there's no readings tonight. But I
Well, wait,
promise
I
you.
can give you a shorty.
You sure? You okay with that?
Oh, of course. This is, I don't think people understand. If you're channeling spiritual energy, um, you can click it on, click it off, and run from it. So I'll focus on you because you're the person here. So, according to what I'm seeing here, this is a time of balance for you. It's a time in which you're bringing a greater balance into your life in all aspects. And the aspect of balance is going to be very appropriate for you to have for the whole next year to come. It feels as though you're at a place right now in time, if in October, where your body, mind, spirit is coming together, and you're probably experiencing a time of inner peace that isn't always reflected in your exterior persona, but there's a good solid inner core here, and you finally have a balance within your body, mind, and spirit as you move into November. This is a time in which you're going to find things. People are attracted to you. You're going to be pulling new people into your life. It's almost like you're a magnet. So just be discerning, because not everybody you pull in is going to be of the same spiritual level as you are, and that's not to be judgmental. It's just that you want to surround yourself with people that talk the same talk as you do. As you come into December, there's a sense here of working on yourself, of taking time out and sort of giving yourself a time to sort of see where growth is happening in your life, and reinforce a lot of areas where you haven't been focusing in the last little while. Feels as though you've been letting go of a lot of things, and you haven't got a balance in your life as much as you should. As you hit January, this is a time of new beginnings and fresh starts for you. You're going to find that there are new directions that are open to you. If a door opens, walk through it. You can always back out, but don't shut yourself off from. Don't allow your human expectations to determine your spiritual growth. Allow yourself to move into what spirit is putting in front of you. As you hit the February timeframe, it's a time in which new people come into your life. It looks like there may be new partnerships of some sort. March has the element here of initiating yourself into um, a new modality of thought and spiritual awakening. So I would strongly urge you to not listen to what other people suggest to you, because they can only suggest from their own frame of reference. Allow your spirit within to guide you, and don't go stepping in front of a train. But if something looks interesting, take off. Try things that are new. As you hit the April timeframe, this is a time of magic and miracles. A lot of stuff coming into your life that will look like magic. And what it is energy that you have drawn to yourself that is ready to flow if you allow it. It's try not to control, try not to let dogma get in the way. Allow magic to flow through your life, and you will find that there are awakenings that are very new and unusual to you as you hit the April May time frame. There's a lot of healing energy here. It feels like you're letting go of a lot of things that you've been carrying for a long time, kind of taking yourself away from having baggage to having an overnight bag, letting go of things that no longer affect you or even have any influence into your life. June's a time when the element of love is really important to you. And we're talking spiritual love here. We're not talking physical love, though I don't discount physical love, but it feels as though spiritual love is more important to you. The element of allowing yourself the compassion, the sensitivity, the amazing spiritual love that comes from the source. You're not going to become a fanatic. You're not going to put a white robe and go to the mountaintop and wait for the mothership, but you are going to understand your own spiritual essence and what's going on within you. July has work. It feels like July and August are times for you to work, and it feels as though there is the element of a move, of a new home, of finding either you're going to recreate the home you're in or you're going to look for another home, because and take that as it's said and understand that home can be a physical place or it can be a spiritual place or it can be a workplace. Home is different for everybody, but it feels as though your home is changing as you get into August. You have abundance coming into you in the September timeframe. It feels as though you're pulling abundance in from new levels. This actually is on the physical plane, so you may have money coming in physical that you didn't expect. But the abundance that I'm seeing, transcends the physical, and it moves into emotionality and a new understanding of the richness that you are surrounded by but haven't acknowledged, and that brings you back here to October, where body, mind, spirit is coming together. That's a quickie.
Thank you, Barbara. Agatha, I hope that helped you out. Joe says, Barbara, I sent you 2 friend requests on Facebook. I hope both pages are the real you.
I have 5 pages, and I have trouble controlling all of them. So if you haven't been accepted yet, I apologize. I'm trying hard to pull everything together so that there's one place I actually work from, but I'll go look for you.
And Joe says, and are you live on Facebook for your shows?
No. We're on Blog Talk, and after the Blog Talk show, it goes on to YouTube. So if you miss a show, you can always catch it on YouTube.
Oh, I hope that helps you out, Joe. Listen, we are getting close to the witching hour. Got about a couple minutes left. Any last thoughts, Mark?
Thanks for the opportunity of just hanging out with you two tonight. I enjoyed it.
Nice to see you. Nice to see you with your hair comb too.
Yeah, like during that 70-second break, I just didn't have enough time to clean up the stuff that was damaged during the 5 floods in the basement, and to save find room in the house to.
Hey, Mark, come on, be honest. What you've got is a picture behind you. That's not really how you live. It's just one of those screens that you can get to put up behind
you. Okay.
That's it.
I was wondering about that, like
the slob screen.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, Mark, thank you so much for coming on tonight. Barbara, any last words for everybody? Thank you, River. Thank you, Heidi.
Well, it's been a pleasure, and I look forward to coming again. You're lots of fun to talk to.
Oh, thank you. Thank you very much. I'm glad that you're here. I know that they got another show coming on at 9:10, and it's 9 o'clock, the witching hour. So thank you, Barbara, for being on. Mark, you're the best. You are. You have to smile more. All right, you guys.
I'm kind of like the punter. Hopefully, Joe's going to learn my name at some point.
Don't worry, I'll broadcast it for you live, dude.
Oh, I know you guys.
I'll bug them. I'll bug the shit out of them. That's what I'll do.
He says hi on Friday night. So.
Okay, thank you again. Children, please, if you can, go to your parents and give them a hug and tell them that you love them. And parents, please go to your children, give them a hug, and tell them that you love them. And if you have no parents, find somebody and give them a hug and tell them that you love them. Because those three words, I love you, go a long way. Real quick, I'm not going to have a show next Tuesday. It's going to be a political one, and I'm just a co-host with Joe. It's about, you know, um, the whatever you call it, the election. Thank you. And but I will have a show on Sunday night. Everybody, happy Halloween, and I will definitely see you Sunday. Real quick, Jenny will yell at me. Jenny on Chasing Prophecy is having a show Halloween night, and I will be on it. So I will send the links whenever I get there on the show. I'll send the links to you. Barbara, God bless you. Thank you so much. Mark, same thing. God bless you. Thank you so much. And on that end, everybody, good night. Happy hunting.